So, commenting on Dr. Johnson's post yesterday on the little girl, a 6-year-old from France goes to the chiropractor, basically, is what it is. And I guess I'll put a link here as well. He talks about doing I think he said a lift. Anyway, anything that comes to, oh no, it was a sacroiliac. He was adjusting the sacroiliac. Now, when he does his neck twisting both ways, it's the palmar diversified rotary lift, or rotary break is what he says. So he does name the techniques that he's using. But anything to do with the sacroiliac joint or the atlanto-occipital joint, and that also includes the ring dinger, except for he's specifically targeting the entire spine, which does include, and this head is outside the spine, because he uses the head as a lever, basically, for a pulling point. You can't decompress the spine in the manner in which he's doing it without involving the head like that. Of course, the head is, the atlanto-occipital joint is extraspinal. Chiropractic does not teach anything appropriate to the sacroiliac and the atlanto-occipital joints. They're extraspinal joints. When I faced off the chiropractors here in Oklahoma, they were talking about and trying to make claim to the head, I think, and the pelvis both, as if they were spinal joints. They're not spinal joints. They were trying to say they were part of the spine. And I'm like, just because these guys are doctors, I think that anything they say can be accepted as truth. You know, there is reference points. You know, we have medical dictionaries, we have anatomy books. You know, I have all of them. You know, and so they're talking outside of their scope and their expertise to talk about the skull or the head or the SI or the atlanto-occipital or the pelvis specifically. Head or pelvis. If they're talking about the head or pelvis, that's our area. And the reason why he's probably even shifting his terminology is because I'm talking to him. And Grandpa was telling me, don't give up the baby with the bathwater. So it's like, I gotta be careful what I say. He needs to pay for his education. Instead, he's trying to actually glean information once again. I figure he's foaming at the mouth behind the scenes. I figure I've got to him in more than one way. Yeah. People need to chip away at this man too. And here's the thing, if you can take down the ring dinger guy, Johnson, if you can take him down, you've taken down the entire chiropractic industry, from what I can see. Something about he won chiropractor of the year a few years ago, I think it was, and he's trying to change the standard of care. He's the one that's pushing for it, from what I see. Well, like I said, Grandpa was there first, and when they passed on it, and the reason why they passed on it was because Grandpa told them, they said, you can't teach what's right down the hall from something that's wrong, you know, around the corner, basically. So he said, if you want to put my work in the college, and they wanted it from what I saw, they were on fire, quote unquote. He said, I'm going to have to weed the chaff, which means basically I'm going to bring you true. And had they done that, and that was Parker Chiropractic College in Dallas, Texas, had they done that, they would have surpassed Palmer Chiropractic College as the best in the world, if this would have been chiropractic. It's not. Anything that they talk about, any of them, I don't care who they are, if it has to do with the head on top, the pelvis underneath, the sacroiliac, or the atlanto-occipital joints, the only reason why they're even talking about it now is because I have forced them into it. Here's the thing, Grandpa's work is so good because he figured out the ones to straighten out. And what I have found repeatedly is that once those joints are taken care of properly and they have a chance to heal, and it doesn't take very long, few months, that thank you, Sheila, she just finally put her stuff up. She's the one that said that she's not letting the chiropractors touch her, so we're getting a movement together here, and I invite any of you all to become part of the coup that's going to shift the tide in the handling of the human frame, period. I don't care who you are, even massage. I've seen too much. I've been in this for over 33 years, and And what happens is that if you do it right, um, after a short period of time, and yes, there is a little bit of follow-up, it's important to make sure that the joint heals right. You got to monitor it and watch it and work it a little bit in order to, get it to heal right. Once it heals, not to say that life can't happen and you can't have the problem again, but it takes an event generally for that to take place. Yeah. And, most of us, regular everyday life does not put us at risk sufficiently to have subluxations of the joints that do subluxate. And no, the spine, which is the cervicals, lumbar, thoracics, not necessarily in that order either way, but it's lumbar at the bottom, 5 of them, 12 thoracics above that, and then the cervical 7 above that. None of them partly dislocate or subluxate. And you'll hear these guys talking about spinal subluxations or vertebral subluxations. And I watched Chris Rayner today. He tells it like it is. He said the chiropractic subluxation, the vertebral subluxation does not exist. And that's what Grandpa told him too. He told him that, I can't even tell you how many years ago, over 30 or 40 years ago, he told him that. As long as they're talking about, spinal subluxations or subluxations of the spine, they're uneducated. They're uneducated is what they are. They've been taught a lie is truth and they don't know. That's what that is. So I'm just going to say it like it is. It is what it is. You guys need to stop trusting that sheepskin on the wall. And if they're getting any results at all at this point in time, here's what it is. They're doing it because they have to. They have to try to figure out this ilano-occipital and sacroiliac joints, because if they don't, I'm going to leave them in the dust. Because they know that I'm a force. They know this. Yeah. And they're trying to catch up. I'm going to say it again. If they are going to be responsible, and if their issue of public safety is really paramount to them, which is what the Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners said back when the press was talking to us both way back, it was 2004, that if public safety is important to them, then they'll be doing it right, and they'll be letting me teach them. They'll pass the test, they'll pay their dues, and they'll let me point the public to the way of the guy that knows what he's doing. And then they'd report to me as to whether or not, what the results were, and keep them pure. But here's the thing. The income, cash flow is going to drop off dramatically. That's what I'm going to see in anybody who's actually doing it. That's why they're out there right now trying to get the people come in, because there's going to be this wave, and then, I don't know, people are going to start learning elsewhere because they're going to find me and actually become true. And then I'll be able to point people in the right direction as to who to go to and what cities and where. Yeah. I've had chiropractors already contact me all excited about the prospect, the possibility of learning Creighton's work. And when I put the price tag up, because they paid a lot of money to be taught wrong. And I'm not underpriced. I mean, I'm not overpriced at all. They quote unquote tell me they can't afford it. And I'm not greedy, but I am realistic as to what the value is. Yeah. And I told them, I said, well, here is what it is. I said, you can easily, pass the cost off to your patients, because you can get higher fees, and once they figure out what's going on, you'll have people lining up. Yeah. And I said, get 4 or 5 guys involved, and I'll come to your city and we'll have a seminar, which I'd be willing to do still, but you guys are going to have to come around. So any of you guys that aren't actually chiropractors, I guess, because I am targeting the chiropractors, you guys catch on, or you guys start passing this around. I figure at some point in time I'm going to go boom, because you guys, I know how you are, you talk to yourselves. When you see me as a threat, and you will, then you'll pass it amongst yourselves, and it won't take long. So if you want to be true blue and do it right, you know as well as I do, Creighton is the one that did it first, did it right, and like I said, passed it off to me. I am the family. His work is still here. So Grandpa told me 2 weeks before he died, pounding his fists on the table, you make them pay you. He assured me this was his last research, not theirs. And my attorney already told me he might have a copyright infringement. So I need to be looking into that. Right now I'm just trying to figure out what to do to hold these guys accountable. and I need to be talking to some attorneys. So if you're an attorney and you happen to, be fascinated by my story, that I welcome any phone calls. That we're looking at a class action lawsuit against the industry at a minimum, yeah, and a coup that will basically change the world as we know it. Will change it all. Yeah.